Coming up on Fun,
World War II,
Food,
so I was
and Travel.
kind of inspired to go and pursue the fighting arts of the Philippine Islands, which at that time it was not well known in the United States. Very few people were actually teaching it, so it was hard to find. The one thing that's particularly unique in Filipino martial arts is that they begin with a weapon. The weapon is the first thing that's taught, and then the empty hand aspects, which a lot of people don't even realize exist, are taught as an adjunct or a support to that. It's only if you couldn't access your weapon, you lost your weapon was broken, now you need to do something at least to hold off the enemy until you can acquire a new weapon. One of the things I need to do is I need to move away from that knife. So distance being time, the more distance I have from the knife, the more time I have to answer the problem with the knife. This can be here or here, the foot as well. This is a dagger thrust here, and the disarm finish right there. So he can hit my disarm, and right away, right there.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Fun, Food, and Travel. I'm your host, Erwin, with my girlfriend, Jen. And today we're here in Culver City with the guru, Mark Bakita, who heads the School of Martial Arts, Science in a World of Hurt. If you want to tell the folks at home the story behind the school, how you got started.
I started martial arts when I was little. My father fought in the Philippines during World War II, so I was kind of inspired to go and pursue the fighting arts of the Philippine Islands, which at that time it was not well known in the United States. Very few people were actually teaching it, so it was hard to find. So I was still pretty young when I finally found it, and I've been doing that for almost 50 years, Philippine martial arts, teaching for 42 years.
Wow.
So,
when did you open the school here?
In Los Angeles, 1985.
1985?
Yeah.
Okay.
Originally in 78 in the Midwest.
Okay.
So my father retired in the Midwest.
Looking at the martial arts, and as a way to pay homage to him, you keep his memory alive by sharing your experience with other students. And,
sure, I mean his picture and his history are on the walls of my school.
Right.
So I think my students would attest to the fact that I bring history and culture into the art all the time. In its fullness, you need to understand the people, the history, the culture, where it came from, what they were fighting against, what their causes were, what their obstacles were. If not, then it's just a collection of techniques. It's not really an art.
When I think of Filipino martial arts, I think of the Filipino fighting sticks. Mm-hmm. And then there are different terms that people use to describe what style it is. And if you talk about the terms of arnis, kali, and eskrima, what separates those three together, or if there's anything really that, classifies Filipino martial art?
Well, I think the most unique thing, if you look at the whole of martial arts, including European martial arts, because we tend to not think of European swordsmanship and so forth as martial arts per se, but it certainly is. When you think of them all together, the one thing that's particularly unique in Filipino martial arts is that they begin with a weapon. The weapon is the first thing that's taught, and then the empty hand aspects, which a lot of people don't even realize exist, are taught as an adjunct or a support to that. There's only an idiot would go onto a battlefield without a weapon in his hand, so it's only if you couldn't access your weapon, you lost your weapon was broken, now you need to do something at least to hold off the enemy until you can acquire a new weapon or take his from him. So that's particularly different from the traditional martial arts, which weapons is held until the last aspect for the most advanced students. In the Filipino martial arts, we put a stick in your hand day one. There's a couple of different ways you can approach that. One is more for show, entablado they call it, and one is more for killing, which is patay. Most schools in the United States in particular teach entablado. It's more twirling and spinning and looks really great, but the patay aspect is usually held back until the older teachers would know the character of the student. So only certain numbers of those students actually got to learn the more serious, sort of the teeth of the art, if you will. So I'm just going to show a very simple sequence, simple to us, it might not look very simple, of how to handle a stick and a knife attack from an opponent who attacked with an intermediate length weapon and a close range weapon. The close range weapon in this case being a tad more lethal than the wood. So he comes to strike me, and I can hit him before he hits me. I don't know if you're seeing that, but as he goes to hit me, I already have the hit right there. So he's winding up, he'll go very slow. I'm hitting him here, and then taking the hand. So in the middle of that, I can strike again and just disarm. Now I know he's coming, so I'm opening this up This can be here or here, the foot as well. This is a dagger thrust here, and the disarm finish right there. So again, so I have to be most respectful of this knife. So when he first hits me, one of the things I need to do is I need to move away from that knife. So distance being time, the more distance I have from the knife, the more time I have to answer the problem of the knife. So strangely enough, the weapon's coming at me, everybody and their brother would say move this way. But I'm now closer to being stabbed. So I actually have to move into this attack. So when he goes to attack me, I interrupt him, disarm, I have these right away. So simple sequence of movements, but it just takes lots of practice. So again, my first shot, and by the way, just so we understand, just close your eyes. My attack actually isn't in the head. My attack is the eyeball, okay? Because that'll just drop him right where he stands. Or I might bounce my stick off his head, he might not know it. So when we hit the head in training, it's specifically because I know, pardon me, I can do that without blinding him for life. I can't practice the eyes, so I'm doing this for simulation. I'm hitting the stick here so I don't have to hit his joints. The rest, I'm still doing all of this. Hit me here, I might actually block the knife. I wouldn't do this in reality. I would go after his hand bones. But I want to protect him. He's my partner and not my enemy. Here, I'd hit the floor, but I would be hitting the foot, break his foot. Come up here, this could be anywhere, in his mouth, in his eyes, in his chest, wherever. And then strike from there. And that would not be the end. That's just where I'm ending it. I would just keep hitting and hitting and hitting until he was not vertical any longer. Okay, so again, so he comes to hit, and disarm, and right away, right there. So simple. So it's based on that. Once you understand the principle, and there is a lot of explaining it to you, because I want you to intellectually understand this art. Once you intellectually understand it, the doing of the art is actually really not that difficult, because the art is designed to be simple. In a real life and death situation, again, you have to take it away from sport against the idea of who's better. It doesn't really matter who's better. It matters who's left. Okay? So who's better is a sporting mentality. When you talk about who's better, you have to bring in rules and concepts of fairness. This is the antithesis of Filipino martial arts. I don't want to be fair. If I'm fair, I didn't get the lesson and missed it. Okay, so not sport, martial, war. If I feel threatened by somebody, I follow them around for a week, figure out their daily movements, go up on a rooftop, take them out with a rifle. That's martial arts. I don't test my mettle against them. I don't care if I'm better or worse than them. They're just a threat. I eliminate them. So that's on a larger scale, but in a self-defense situation, a life and death situation, I may be trying to drag you into my car. Mm-hmm. Where am I taking you?
To kill me?
Yeah, somewhere where your screams won't matter. So where does the fight for your life happen? Right there. So you have to, first of all, develop the wherewithal to turn that switch on, rather than to think, well, if I just cooperate, he'll be, because you've been taught to do that. How many times did your mother or father say, be a nice girl? That's hard to overcome. And the person who's attacking you has already stepped outside of the bounds of civilization and made that decision. And you have to catch up very quickly or you won't survive. So the art is just the toolbox to teach you that mindset, to get you into a place where you can actually turn on that warrior aspect of yourself and apply the techniques. That is all the difference.